Good morning. Listening to a little lo-fi music. Ryan McGough in Telecom and in Telecom Investments, the bodybuilding businessman and real estate investor. And it is a great morning, beautiful day. And I wanted to come bring you a little bit of value today and talk a little bit about in Telecom Investments, where we beautify neighborhoods one house at a time. And one thing that I was thinking about that had me thinking about if I say it enough or if I talk about it enough was at the gym. Somebody was talking about investing in real estate and they just don't want to deal with the contractors and that kind of thing. And they were like, how do you get past that stuff? And I was thinking about it and I was like, I'm lucky to be, well, I guess we all come in from our backgrounds. We come in from our space. We fill our space, right? We start with what we know. And to do things in a certain way, that's the goal. That's how we do it. Keep doing an efficient thing and do it enough times and fill the space that you're in and grow to a new space. But that made me think, do I say enough that I'm the technical founder, right? Because a lot of times people think you invest in something and somebody's going to, has no idea how to manage contractors or whatever. Or, if you come in from the real estate side, you probably don't know much about contracting. You come in as a realtor, you come in because there's deals all around you, right? And so you can buy a house, a flip, right, at a discount because you know the customer and they just need to get out of it and whatever. So you're like, yeah, I could probably do that. I could flip that. The numbers look good, right? Let me find the money situation and let me find the contracting situation. Or you come in from the money side. You're doing mortgages and hard money and that kind of thing. You have a lot of money left over. You're in front of people that are dealing deals and you just ask, hey, you got a good deal for me? I'd like to flip a house and whatever. Or you come in from the contracting side where you're like, oh, if I can renovate this house, my company can, my crew can, right? If I just find the money and a deal, right, I can get a house and do a good product and put it back on the market and that kind of situation. So my side comes from being on the technical side where I know the construction side of things, and we just had to learn the market, right, and then learn the money, which is always the toughest part for us. At least the deals were not as hard because we know how to market. The construction was, trust me, it's not any easier on any side, I guess, right? Like you still know how to renovate a house, but you have to do it in a strategic way that the market wants. Otherwise, you spend too much money and you renovate this whole house, or, everybody has their own set of problems, right? You either have a contractor or we have plenty of problems finding labor, right? You think somebody's who they are, or you think somebody's who they say they are, and then find out, whoa, we let this person run with this project and they are definitely not as experienced, responsible, whatever, as they said they were. So there's always a multitude of problems. But being the technical investor, at least, I got to, or the technical founder, and a technical founder in my telecom company too. I do know how to do the networks, build them, wire them, manage them, everything, test them, commission them, program them, all of that, and the same, it goes for the house. I know what, floor joists look like, a proper foundation looks like. We've lifted houses up and redone block foundations to, 18 inches below the frost line or whatever the case is. And I know how to read code and all of that. So that does at least, put me in a situation where I know a lot about the construction process. So something to somebody else that would be a catastrophic thing. Oh, it's done, like an engine, right? Oh, the engine's blown, it's done. So it's worthless. The car's not worth anything, right? As someone says as they drive and their car breaks down. But give that to a mechanic and you're catastrophic, it's done. They're like, oh no, it's just like a camshaft, or it's just a crankshaft, or it's just your timing chain between the two, right, is literally not working as just one $10 part, right? I just have to get inside of the engine and do it. It's a lifter, it's a valve spring, it's a piston, it's a, whatever, internal engine part that is not rocket science. I know that person, they would say, I know exactly how to fix that. So that at least does minimize a lot of risk for us, which is a good thing, to minimize risk. And that's one thing that I think I do like playing the part of, is building the processes and the procedures, if you will, that allow us to scale from just building one house, every 6 months out of the year. We do, first couple years doing one house a year, or two houses a year, or whatever. For us, it was like we did one house the first year, and then the second year we did six houses. You know what I mean? Something of that nature, in different ways, right? One was a rental, one was an Airbnb, three were flips, four we just got under contract at such a good price we just sold them as is, right, to somebody else for a little bit more that wanted to take them on. And those were good deals. So we got to learn from all of those different situations, and we wanted to do a rental. We wanted to, because a cash out refi situation is a very complicated process. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. Markets change as to what you're able to get, right? We go in expecting 80% and come out at 75%, and that, our renovation came in at exactly 80%. So where's that 5% go? It's either left in the house or whatever the case is. So we wanted to do all those in our first few years, and we did. So being able to say that to that person at the gym when they say, yeah, but I don't want to manage contractors or do that kind of thing, I've tried that before, that's not what I'm interested in. And I get to say, yeah, I mean, that's why we want you to be completely passive. And I think at the point right now, we were just saying like, oh yes, well, invest with us, we'll give you your cash back in 6 months to a year, something like that. And but it's just, we'll give it to you, that's it, right? And so they get to have their cash back. But then there's the idea of capital gains, right? And so what we're learning now is like, how can we be a great value to investors? Like, what way can we structure their investment so they can claim depreciation, right? So they can get an annual return, a year over year return, so they can get an equity return, so they can have a tax benefit or tax break, right? And so that's the type of opportunities we're looking at. And we need to understand the investor a little bit more. Somebody that just wants to put their cash into something very quickly. Hey, I have 300,000. It's going to be taxed. I'd rather put it in this house for you. You pay me interest, monthly interest. And, when you sell or whatever you do with the property, I have a piece of that equity, right? Or I just put my cash in, you hold it for 2 to 3 years, they become the bank, right? So they're collecting monthly interest on that. And when we pay it back, we pay that full amount back and we just give them the interest, right? But they get to claim depreciation because they bought this whole house, right? Or is it that it's an Airbnb or a rental, right? And they own it, and we are on, the LLC or partnership together, right? And now, even if they're collecting, a small percentage of the income because we're managing it and that kind of thing, right? Now they get to claim that they're, a 50% owner of an Airbnb, right? And there's depreciation that comes in the beginning, and they even could open up a tax benefit of a real estate investor, right? Now, I don't know all of the specifics on it. I'm not a tax pro. You talk to your tax person for sure. But my point is that we were just had one option for investors, and that was invest this. Either invest the whole property, right, or invest on the down payment or renovation, and we mix that with a hard money loan or some kind of another cash loan, right? And you pay, let's say 50,000 on average, right? So you get a 15% and a point or two on that, right? We'll pay it back when we pay the whole loan back in 6 months to 1 year. So it's a short-term investment. It's a good percentage on that investment. And the earlier ones, I was doing 20, 25% even, like 50%, $50,000 second position, on and then had a hard money loan on the second position of it for, let's say, it was for 300,000, right? And then the down payment plus 6 months or something was 50,000. So, we take that 300,000 that had a renovation budget, we marry it with this $50,000 cash investment. But the only problem with that, and that's great, a great opportunity, because 20%, 25%, on 50,000, it's amortized, so it's by the month. So it's held for a few months. I mean, you're getting $5,000-6,000 or something like that on your 50,000, right? At 25% if it's held for the entire year, which is a great return. And it doesn't really break the bank much for us because it pays all of the other fines and fees and down payment of this other loan and 6 months. So for us to do that, we don't pay this back until the house is sold. So it covers all the other ones. But the only problem with that is there is some kind of taxation that has to happen, right, when you get that capital back, when it's paid back, right? So you do your 50 and then you get, 6,000, let's say, right, back. And then there is some taxing. There's nothing really we can do on that because it's just it's just a loan that comes to us, right, and goes back and it's paid back. So I guess there's some kind of always some taxation that has to happen on that to the person. Now, I don't think it's capital gains tax. I might be wrong with that, but it's just they invest with us. It's not necessarily, onto a house. And again, that may be something to talk to the tax pros about. But my point is there could be capital gains. There could be some other things. So it's a good $50,000 investment. I really do believe and think that, and we will take those all day because that allows us to do another property with no money down and all that. But now at this point in our development, at this phase of our development, to continue on the path we're on, where we used to do, like I said, one a quarter, right? One a quarter. So we do 4 flips a year. That was year 2, and then had a couple, wholesales, wholetails, whatever you want to call it. That was how we did that. But now at this point, we posted it, we talked about it, we've scaled to, Louisville, Kentucky. We've scaled to having a crew on site in places like that, in high cash flow areas where we're trying to build a bunch of rental properties, right? Get 10 rental properties this coming year, for example, there. And in these little cash flow areas like that the purchase prices are fairly low and the rents are fairly high, right? The whole West Virginia corridor, Baltimore, Maryland, stuff like that. And then we have our, kind of high equity market, which is the DC metro that we're in here. And then we even go a little further down to, Virginia Beach and that kind of thing, which is a little bit of like, that whole area in between south of DC all the way to maybe like North Carolina, for example, is a $200,000 to $300,000 market. And so it's like we have a few really low market, Ohio, right? That type of place, low market, low purchase price, high rents, high cash flow, right? And then, so my point is, and then we have other pieces in the portfolio, right? And other strategies that we're doing. So we're doing the flips, we're doing the rentals now, and we have Airbnbs in the mix too, which are great tax benefit scenarios and situations, and they're very, seasonal things. So now at this point, for those people that don't want to mess with contractors or manage or manage their properties, we're offering these types of tax break investments. They're for larger investments, right? For example, if you take those three areas that we have boots on the ground, 3 construction crews at any given time, we're posed and poised because of the systems that we built, the process that we built around construction, right? We're poised at any given time to do 3 flips at a time, or 2 flips and a rental, or a renovation to rent, right? A flip to rental, call it whatever you want. A BRRRR, BRR, buy, renovate, or buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. From Bigger Pockets, shout out. I got them up there, the Bigger Pockets guys, because I'm going to be on their podcast one day. If that, or we're doing one Airbnb, right? And we buy them all at a low price because they need work. We're going to do the work internally, right? That's our skill. Our trade is buying low because it needs work, right? It can't usually go traditional financing. Because remember the catastrophic engine failure analogy that I gave you, we do the work ourselves, right? So we're renovating it ourselves internally, which we're saving probably 50% or more, right? If somebody's going to charge you $120,000 for the renovation, right? We're doing it at 60,000, maybe less, right? Mini splits instead of HVAC, and patch and paint, and flooring where needed. And right, we're going to strategically do it around getting the highest appraisal, but only doing what we need to do, exactly what we need to do, right? And so this model is our model. We come and get things at a discount because they need work. We do the work, and then the exit strategy, we try to have multiple exit strategies, whether it's rental, Airbnb, whatever. We've boosted that appreciation by doing the work internally at a discount, which is scalable, which is we can control the timeline and the cost better, right? It's not just a surprise when we get an update from the contractor. We can constantly be working around the schedule, working around what we're trying to do, right? Working around when something pops up, we change the model, change the scope a little bit instead of getting to the end and just, we were negative, whatever, right? We can change those things as the scope starts to creep. So being the construction project manager group, we have a really high attention to those things, the budget, the timeline, all those kind of things, right? So it's very nice to be able to do that and say that, and that we are technical founders, so we can look into those things and adapt to those processes. But at this point now, we're really looking at what kind of package we can have for investors, because we need that larger investment at this point to do 3 properties per quarter, right? Which is about $1 million, right, per quarter. So we need $1 million per quarter. Giving a percentage of that back, right, is a good option. It's a good opportunity for some, but it may not be the best for all. So some investors might want to put that $1 million there and be in for 3 to 5 years, right? And have it be 2 rental properties and 1 Airbnb, right? And now they're claiming depreciation on these things. There's tax breaks, there's, year over year returns, equity returns, that kind of thing. So the point is, it's different for everybody. So we have to understand what kind of things and benefits our investors want. And a lot of times with these larger investments, it's not just so much about the interest rate that they're getting back. It's about how can we benefit them to have their money gone for 1 year and come back at a lesser tax bracket, or claim depreciation up front on a Airbnb, or give them, a portion of this Airbnb so they can get, tax professional status and that kind of thing. So again, I'm not a professional at it, but I'm hearing the market and listening in and trying to custom tailor products and pieces that fit for investors, along with the fundamental piece of being a technical founder who can actually do the work and understands the work, and that minimizes our risk of our investors' capital. So that's kind of a conversation that hit me, and one that I'm hearing a lot of, and one that I'm really trying and working on learning. And again, it's that same adding value idea, right? That we always have to live by. We try to add value to our contractors' lives by creating a great business model for them. We try to add value to our employees by creating a great business model that is structured to help them succeed, grow, and develop within the company. We try to create a business model that is also good for our investors and gives back and gives them a piece of equity or tax benefits on their investments as well, and listen to the timeline and length of term they need and what their actual idea of what a good investment is. And then we try to give value back to the neighborhood by cleaning up another house that might attract addicts, alcoholics, crime, whatever else an abandoned house could be to somebody who's looking to do some damage to an area. And I think we've all seen that house on the corner there that has attracted those problems. And if those are cleaned up eventually over time, then that neighborhood is a cleaner, safer place as well. So adding value is the fundamental core of all of our principles. Not to say that we don't. In myself, I'm tough on myself, right? I hold myself to a high standard. I hold myself to everybody else around me to that same high standard. And as a result, we all hold ourselves to high standards, hold each other to high standards. And we have a high standard, which keeps us efficient, which keeps us doing things in a certain way. So, I could get into all kinds of core values and culture and all of that kind of stuff too, which is all in the same lines. But why invest with us at the end of the day? Because we're looking out for you, to try to give a great product and fit for what you're looking for and exactly the way you're looking for. We've done the research, we figured things out through trials and tribulations. And now at year 3, we're really poised to come out and do a great number of business this year. So come in while we're still at that phase of growth, right? And get a better return and get that small company feel, and the other side of it is just because we're adding value everywhere we go and doing things in a certain way. And if we do things efficiently and every act is an efficient act, we'll be efficient. And if we are efficient, then more things will work out in an efficient, productive way than will not. And we set ourselves up to mitigate risk and set ourselves up to grow and succeed in that way. So that is who Intellicom and Investments is, and why we have a great product for anybody investing. And I could tell you, can't think of a million other reasons or a million reasons to go with anybody else, but we have that product and that package for our investors. So thanks for listening in today. Hopefully I gave you something that is of value. And if you can share that value back with me, like, subscribe, share with somebody else that may be thinking about how to get into real estate, and how I got in is through the construction side. But again, there's the money side, there's the realtor side. So pick which side of the triangle you want to get around those people, think about how to grow some knowledge in that industry and just pick some knowledge and things up, and then get a little further in and dive in, start your own company. But yeah, the company has to have processes. It has to solve a problem, and it has to be built on procedures and adding value, or it would be very hard to overcome the challenges and the things that come with starting a company, the seasons, if you will, of winter and summer and that type of push and pull, right? So, yeah, Ryan McGough, bodybuilding businessman and real estate investor, and representing Intellicom here and Intellicom Investments, and signing off with a great positive day coming. And I have a lot of capital to raise and conversations to have and value to give back to people. So I'm going to start by listening and hearing what they want and bringing them something that works and they cannot refuse because it's such a great product. So thanks for listening today. And I hope you go and achieve the dreams and things you want to achieve.